Sounds of Freedom, American action movie just released yesterday on the day of Independence Day. Um, I like to review about this movie. So this is Dr. Bibhuti Das from Office State, New York. I usually watch a lot of American movie, especially I like action, horror, thriller, science fiction type of movies. Also, I was comedy, drama, but not that much. Also, I watched a lot of Spanish movie, especially I watched a lot of movie based on mental health and correction, based on the correction facilities or correction health related movies. Of course, I love Hindi movie, South Indian movie. I used to watch a lot of Bengali movie, but last few years I cannot recall that I watched any Bengali movie. I never thought that I should review about a movie, but this movie draws my attention so much, and I was about to feel so bad and about to cry about the child who was captivated in Colombian jungle and got tortured um, unhumanly. So let's talk about Sounds of Freedom. So basically, Sounds of Freedom is based on the incredible true story, shines a light on even the darkest of places. After rescuing a young boy from ruthless child traffickers, a federal agent learns that boy's sister is still captive and decides to embark on a dangerous mission to save her. With time running out, he quit his job and journeys deep into the Colombian jungle, putting his life on the line to free her from fate that is worse than death. So basically, um, that special agent I mentioned, he is Tim Ballard, who was U.S. Homeland Security Special Agent, was given the responsibility to work U.S. Mexican border in the Tijuana. I went Tijuana twice last year, so I know this area is really scary. Uh, During return from the Tijuana to U.S., especially in San Diego zone, I got captivated in a curfew for 4.5 hours because there was a group of gang attacked a supermarket and police curfewed that area, and I got really scared because I never have seen this kind of horrific scene before. I heard so many smuggler, um, drug dealers, human traffickers in that area, but that was the first time last year. I just was witness for 4.5 hours. My car was standing just in the middle of the border. So Tim Ballard, he was working on that border basically. So Sound of Freedom was inspired by basically Tim Ballard's as assertion that he is an activist against child trafficking. So basically, he's still working. He's retired now. He's still working against child trafficking. He also made an organization, founded an organization called Operation Underground Railroad, OUR. That organization worked to rescue all those child who was captivated by ruthless child traffickers. Um, Basically, uh, Ballard personally requested that Jim Caviezel portray him. Caviezel is American hero, um, even though Caviezel does not look like Ballard, but Ballard was so inspired watching movie of Caviezel called The Count of Monte Cristo, and that movie was released in 2002. Caviezel rated Sound of Freedom just next to his another movie called The Fashion of the Christ, where he portrayed role of Jesus Christ. Movie was released in 2004. So Jam Caviezel portrayed Tim Ballard. Tim Ballard is a U.S. Homeland Security agent, now retired. Mira Sorvino played role as Catherine Ballard, who portrayed Tim Ballard's wife character. Bill Crump and Vamprio. Kurt Fuller as Forrest. Gary Basarba as Earl Buchanan, and there is so many others. I don't want to waste the time mentioning all those name. Movie was directed by Alejandro Monteverde and written by Rod Barr, Alejandro Monteverde, both together. Rod Barr and Alejandro Monteverde wrote this script. And movie is about 131 minutes. Of course, movie released just yesterday, and it started basically I think 2018. So, and also most part of the movie was done in the Salexo in California. Some reason in the California, I forget exactly. I'm sorry for any mispronunciation of that reason. So this is little bit about this movie. Now let's talk about how it developed. Sound of Freedom was inspired by Tim Ballard, as mentioned, assertion that he is an activist against child trafficking. Um, so this movie draws my attention so much, and Caviezel, who portrayed the role of Ballard, was everywhere from the beginning to the end of the movie, and most of the people definitely love Tom Cruise, Schwarzenegger, and so many other actors. Definitely, they're great. But if you watch this movie, you will fall in love with Jim Caviezel. His eye contact, the confidence, his empathy, his emotions, his sacrifice. He just got retired from his very lucrative job just 10 months before his retirement. That was really his great sacrifice, just to save a girl who was captivated by ruthless child traffickers from Honduras and taken to the Colombian jungle. So basically, first how he came across with these little boys and girls. So Tim Ballard was working in Tijuana border, Mexico-U.S. border, um, and when any car or any vehicle entered from Tijuana to USA, that was in the San Diego. I told you that I went last year twice, so I know this area very well. Um, he was checking it, like Hispanic, a fatty old dude. He was driving, carrying a little boy in the back, rear seat, and he showed him his ID and that boy's IDs. But Caviezel, Tim Ballard, his eyes so sharp that because before that, how all this happened. Um, that little girl, um, who was captivated. He was playing some sort of music in a market. There was a Colombian, uh, Miss Colombia, who was affiliated with that ruthless child trafficker, and somehow she listened to that music and came across and convinced that girl's parents that she has talent, she can be great singer and will be has bright future in the entertainment industry, and convinced, and he took um, those two boys and girls with his fathers in a different places, and eventually um, that father lost his children, and in the meanwhile he knew that he has nothing to do. He just uh, he just in a trap of child traffickers, and he just um, filed a case somewhere in that uh, police station or somewhere. So um, Tim Ballard knew about that boy because his father gave him pictures of both boys and girls pictures. So while he was working in that border, that Hispanic fatty guy, basically he bought that boys from who captivated those two little children. So basically, but that little boy's sister was with was taken to the other group. Basically, that boy was bringing to the US. Basically, I don't know why, but in the border of Tizon and US border, he was caught by Ballard, and eventually he was that boy was handed to his father, and at the end moment, that little boy requests Ballard that, can you find my sister? There was an emotional scene, and that I think during that moment Ballard was so inspired, so empathetic, that he decided uh, to rescue that his sister. But his sister is not in USA. He was, she was basically captivated from Honduras and taken to the Colombian jungle. So Ballard, basically Caviezel, requested his boss, who's card fuller and played as a force. He tried to convince to captivate, to rescue that girl. But Forrest, who is the boss of Caviezel, initially denied his proposal. He said, "You are given the responsibility to work within the US. How it is possible that a girl who was captivated from um, Honduras to Colombian jungle, and you are a special agent of the Homeland Security?" Eventually, he convinced, but when he went to the Colombia, there was so many stories. I'm not going details. It's really um, so much. I would recommend that you should watch this movie. Um, but by the time, because of bureaucracy, all those things, his time was about to expire, and he was told to return to the US and to join his duty. But he was so desperate that eventually he quitted his job just 10 months before his retirement. And initially, his wife, Catherine Mira Sorbino, initially was that, she was so surprised because all the family was defending on the Ballard, but she was so good and allowed her to um, inspired him to rescue that little girl. And it was not easy. There was so many um, thrilling moments throughout his missions to the jungle. So basically, there was a little island. I forget the name of the island where most of the um, children was taken and was sold to different child traffickers. They was abused physically, sexually, used to do a lot of hard works, and so many other things. Um, that last moment I want to talk when he was in Colombia and decided to go to the a deep forest in the Colombia. I think their intelligence. Um, he convinced Bill Camp, who played Vamprio. I think he was some sort of um, the agent of any special intelligence branch, and both of them was become as a doctor, and they're doing some vaccine campaign, and they tried to enter into that jungle. So there was a like canal like river, and they took the speedboat and started um, driving to deepest of the forest. And in the meanwhile, they was attacked by all the ruthless child traffickers, and Caviezel was taken. But they convinced, because they was given the doctor's ID, they had vaccines, all the like medical stuff. So they believed that these people comes to help the people of this region somehow. And he was taken there, and it was very horrific that moment. Every moment he might die. It was um, a really scary moment. Every moment, every step, the way he was taken to the deepest of the forest, where all those ch- child was taken and being tortured, abused sexually, physically. When um, at the moment Caviezel find that little girl, because that girl's brother gives some tattoo on her neck, and he understand that this will be the girl. And boys told him some things that he called by that name or what, I didn't understand that part. um, she will respond. And when Caviezel find that girl, but not sure that that is the girl he's looking for, he sounded that word that he learned from that girl's brother. It was really scary moment, and because um, everybody watching, like all those uh, traffickers keep observing, keep eye on him. And um, somehow he found where she's stays in the night. And during the night time, the middle of the night, all the traffickers drinking, they are having parties, loud music, but all those kids are sleeping. And that time that Caviezel went to um, child's that girl's room. And when Caviezel touched her, she got scared and started screaming. All those traffickers heard that screaming. In the meanwhile, the Caviezel convinced that girl that um, just follow me what I said. um, Caviezel hid himself under the bed, and one of the child traffickers came to her and asked her what happened. She said it was a bad dream. Then that she's so heartless that she took in that little girl. She was, I think, about 6 to 8 somewhere. Um, that, oh, okay, I will treat your bad dream, and he is about to refer. The meanwhile, Caviezel cannot control him. He attack on him, and just what he need to do. He just killed him there. And Caviezel um, grabbed the girls and taken away to the boat. And that was um, very risky missions during that time. All those child traffickers ran behind both of them, but somehow Caviezel and that girl was about to reach that small speedboat, and they took him to the other side of the river, and finally rescue that girl. This is really the movie. I want to um, run the trailer, and you can understand.
I don't think I can do this job, Tim. As soon as I lay down, all I see are those kids' faces. How long you been doing this? 12 years? How do you do it? It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade. Soon it's gonna pass the truck train.
Señor Timoteo, todo lo que también es verdad. Quizá puedas ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana.
Imagine walking into her room right now, seeing an empty bed. What will we do?
We're Homeland Security. You know we can't go off
This is
rescuing
the little
kids
girl.
in Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces. This is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
We're talking about extracting an 11-year-old girl from an army of rebels.
Not just her. I'm talking about rescuing hundreds of kids.
She could be a block down the road, or she could be in Moscow, Bangkok, LA.
Over 2 million children a year are being sucked into the deepest recesses of hell. If we do nothing, someday it's gonna reach the likes of you. What if this was your daughter?
So this is the child trafficking or sex trafficking. This is the $160 billion dollar industries each year. It is the fastest growing industry, and this is ruthless. Basically, this need to be stopped. And let me share a few of those moments that this is the little boy and girl. This is the moment when Caviezel, who played portrait of Barlad in the middle of the jungle, middle of the night, just approached to that little girl got scared, and after that she was basically rescued. This is the moment, very scary moment basically. All those children was captivated by ruthless child traffickers. And this is the moment where Caviezel was on the boat as a healthcare workers in the river between Colombian jungle, attacked by all those child traffickers. So I think I describe about the movie instead of reviewing the movie, but next time I'll try to be more brief about like how choreography, where the message of the movie. The message is very simple. Message is very ruthless. It is every year 2 million children was captivated, and it is said that now this slavery is more than slavery when the slavery was legal. So, and USO is the largest market basically. We everyone to help to rescue all those who are being captivated, and I'll try to be more precise about this movie. Choreography is beautiful. I think music is very heart touching. What else? Just awesome. You should watch this movie. If you have some idea of this new movie, please let me know how I can improve.